like, especially working on Jinx. So one of the things that the team really, really wanted for Jinx when we were making her, way back in the day, and I think Arcane delivers on this perfectly, is Jinx was always supposed to be like, I'd say, we wanted her to be like, you know, definitely a more of a villain type of character, but, you know, sympathetic and not like wholly evil. Like, we could have gone like full Joker with the Jinx, right? Of just like, yeah, she just kills everybody and doesn't care and stuff, but wanted her to have a bit more of like a conscience and a way she works and things like that. And I think Arcane just captured the nuance of Jinx so incredibly well. So incredibly well, where it's like, yes, she does terrible things. She really does. She does horrible things. But she also does a lot of not as horrible things, and also she's a very sympathetic character that you want to root for a lot of the time, right? And like Arcane, just the whole Jinx, Powder, Vi, oh man, incredible. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just really a huge fan of how they portray the characters. Vi and Caitlyn too. Like, heck, we're talking about Arcane. I can just talk about Arcane for days. But like Vi and Caitlyn too, right? Like, it's like Vi is like set up to the hero, and she does some bad shit. Like, it's very easy to like, you know, look at episode 3 and be like, well, I know what created Jinx, and it's what Vi did, right? And it's like, but then also she's a freaking child who just saw terrible things happen to her family and her friends, right? It's like, well, like, it's just like, again, it's this mix of good people doing bad things and bad people doing good things, surrounded by emotion and terrible social problems. And it's just there's so much good stuff going on there. And like watching Caitlyn evolve over time, where like she starts out as this like really like, you know, optimistic kind of person who like wants to see the good in people, and like she freaking like gets Vi out of prison and stuff, and then goes to the Undercity, and then how she moves and where she's going right now. It's like, oh my god, what is Caitlyn? What? And it's like, again, it's like, oh man, this such a compelling story. So many cool character arcs in there. Heimer is badass. Oh yeah, and like they've got all these like Heimer is great, and he's not just a joke, which happens very often with Yordles, is that they can be just kind of jokes, right? Heimerdinger is great. I love everything about Arcane, if you hadn't guessed. I love how they portray Ekko. So one of the things that the Ekko team wanted to do when we were working on Ekko, again, this was years ago, and I want to be very clear that like I did not work on Arcane. Arcane is not me. I'm just a fan. I'm a big Arcane fan, right? I'm a big Arcane fan, but one of the things the team always really cared about with Ekko is we were like, Ekko's story is about what he could be, not about what he is so far. And the idea there was we wanted to create a character where a lot of characters in League of Legends, which is fine, by the way, like their story mostly has happened. It's like, here's these things that happened in their past, and now they're here, and that's who they are, right? Whereas a lot of Ekko's story was written intentionally back in the day to be like, and this guy could do anything, he could be anything. His story, to some degree, is unwritten, and he's going to define his future. And so we always wanted Ekko to be this like, you know, this really intelligent, empathetic kid. He's, you know, very young, who's grown up in a fairly rough situation. Like, growing up in Zaun is not great, especially when you've seen all these awful things happen to your friends, but he manages to stay, like, you know, optimistic and wants to create a better world for the people he's around and cares about. And so, well, you know, a number of other people that he sees, like, you know, might leave or give up or go to Piltover like Vi did, right? Ekko is just like, he's like, I am going to make this place better. And so he's like he's written as like this very like positive, forward-looking character who has a ton of potential that's completely unwritten, right? It's unwritten. He could be anything. He could become anything, and I really love how Arcane has portrayed him, where he's such a compelling, cool guy. We're gushing about Arcane at this point, but oh my god, there's so many. Oh, they treat the characters in that show so well, and then also they just made all these new characters, right? Like Ambessa and stuff, and Silco. There's just like so many cool characters in that show that like aren't from League proper, and that come in, and you're just like, wait, this character is amazing too. Like yeah, just really, really great stuff from Arcane. And I'm very excited to see how the rest of this season goes. So I haven't watched all of the episodes, by the way. I deliberately want to watch them with everybody else, and so I've only seen as much of Arcane as all of you. Which means that I am pretty hyped for what's going to happen later in the season. I cannot wait. There's so much good stuff there. Oh, you know another thing? Okay, we're gushing about Arcane. I also just really love how many of the characters in Arcane have nuance and interest to them. Like, even if they're not main characters. Like, Caitlyn's mom, right? Like, even after the things happened, I'm not going to spoil it in case you would, but you get more about Caitlyn's mom. And if you want to look, there's just so much stuff about her. Like, but then like the whole thing where like Caitlyn opens up that vault that her mom has, and like her mom's like, the people of the Undercity deserve to breathe. And it's like, oh wait, like Caitlyn's mom has been like trying to make the world a better place. She probably has a lot of things she's done poorly, but like she has all this thing. And then Caitlyn's dad, like, let's see if I can find it. Like, you barely see this guy, but he is, like, I love him. I love this guy, and I love how they portray grief through him, and he's just this side character that you barely see, but every time you see him, you feel like you know, like, parts of who he is and, like, can really empathize with it. He's just, like, he's such a compelling guy, even though, like, he's just, you know, not a main character, and like he just is chilling, but like the things you see of him, you're like, man, this guy cares so much about his family and his wife and his daughter, and he's like, it's just crazy. And then, yeah, I don't know, just a lot of really, really great takes on all the supporting, not all, I should say, but like most of the supporting characters. There's so much like compelling stuff going on with them. I think that's another thing that they're really good at, is they're like, Arcane is so good at like, tackling like subtle emotional subjects without being subtle about it. Like how they show how people love each other in the show, how they show like different types of mental illness and trauma, how they show like, you know, class discrepancies and how that affects people. Like, there's just, oh man, sorry everybody, I know you didn't come here to like hear about everything great about Arcane, because you probably all know it, but I don't know, I mean, I gotta gush about it. It's just, the show means so much to me because, you know, it features, you know, characters I poured my heart and soul into a decade ago, and so to like see them on the big screen, like being realized in such compelling ways, really, it's just really, really great. And then how the show like does music and animation is also just insane. Like the fact that they're willing to do like weird scenes with music that like you wouldn't see in a normal animated series, or they're willing to do just like, you know, and in this scene the animation style completely changes and it's this entirely different artistic take on things, is another thing that's just incredible. It's like, whew, I could just go all day, man. There's just so many layers of compelling stuff about Arcane.